This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Ambassador at Imperium Chambers. If you've got an immigration problem, please get in touch with me and I'll do my best to help you. Today I'm going to be talking about the Home Office is again trying to force people into what is clearly unsuitable accommodation. Some people refer to them as concentration camps. We've already had the Napier Barracks scandal. Now it seems we've got one in respect of Manston. One might have thought that the new Secretary of State, Cruella Braverman, would have learned from Priti Patel that overcrowding asylum seekers into unsatisfactory accommodation is not only inhumane but unlawful. But of course we have to remember that Suella's judgment is not exactly the best when it comes to making decisions. So perhaps she can be forgiven for having a very short memory. It is clear that the Manston refugee scandal is just the tip of the iceberg. Apparently the problems are in the northwest, where the asylum accommodation is both dilapidated and overcrowded. By now we've all become well aware to the Manston refugee scandal, where over 4,000 people have been confined into quarters suitable for housing about 1,300, and whilst they were only supposed to be there for 24 hours, some people have been sleeping on mats for 32 days. We have also seen Suella Braverman exasperated efforts to put things right, as it were. These are just words, not actions. But no matter what she does, and she does seem to do an awful lot of talking, she doesn't seem to be doing anything about it. Well, apart from visiting the centre on the third day of this month, and you can find a picture if you want to on the government's website. Whilst this blatant publicity stunt serves to show that the Secretary of State is doing nothing more than engaging in a blatant publicity stunt, it doesn't show that she's done anything or plans to do anything to put the situation right. I say this not without good reason, as whilst our Secretary of State has been busy playing to the cameras, she has obviously failed to consider the rest of the cracks in her system, because she is of course responsible for it. Rita Moran, founder and researcher for the Refugee and Asylum Participatory Action Research Group, gives the following statement, which is damning. There is not enough accommodation in the northwest for people seeking asylum, and this is entirely down to Serco, which has a contract with the Home Office to manage decent asylum support housing for those who are eligible. We have raised many concerns about the hotels managed by Serco, which are meant to be short term but are not, and about the state of disrepair of some of the accommodation they manage in the community. There are safeguarding issues in both the hotels and in the community. Well, that comes as no surprise. Last Sunday, protesters gathered in Manchester, so it's not just London or the South East or the Wokerati, as they would like to put it, but Manchester, St Peter's Square, demanding better treatment for asylum seekers nationwide, and specifically calling, perhaps unsurprisingly, for the closure of what is essentially the Manston Detention Centre as opposed to Processing Centre. It is clear that this is a problem that can only be solved by the government investing more in the Home Office, so they can make decisions, they can process people. They could even give asylum seekers the right to work immediately so that they could support themselves. After all, we have a labour shortage, rather than what is actually taking place, which is that the Home Office are either overcrowding sites, and then when they discover that the sites are dangerously overcrowded, they put them on buses, take them to the middle of London, and then just dump them on the streets. I'm not quite sure what's worse, sticking them in unsanitary accommodation or dumping people in the middle of a town, especially vulnerable people who have probably travelled a very unpleasant journey, into the middle of a wet London night. You could decide on that one. What I can say is that the Home Office is clearly not waving but drowning, and if anyone needs rescuing, it's not migrants from the English Channel, it's Suella Braverman and the Home Office. And of course, with the budget constraints coming, it's hardly likely that there's going to be more money spent on migration and dealing with immigrants, and even less, which is likely to mean more of Suella's lunatic ramblings and less action on the ground. Thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope things change for the better and people are treated with respect, but given this current government's record, I doubt that that is very likely. Thank you again for watching. This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Ambassador at Imperium Chambers.